Man, there's sometimes when you watch something that is so beautifully animated, you have to take a double take on who's doing it. I was looking into the studio for Jobless Reincarnation, thinking to myself, this show looks beautiful. It is very beautifully animated. Who the heck is working on this? And I'm looking at it and it's Studio Bind, and I'm like, who is Studio Bind? Search for who Studio Bind is. Oh, joint venture between White Fox and Egg Firm. White Fox makes sense. I've seen White Fox do a lot of incredible shows, and I'm guessing part of that group is kind of spilling over to Studio Bind. Either that or the committee behind Jobless Reincarnation is dumping some money on this show. It is incredible. But yeah, I just got done watching Jobless Reincarnation up to episode 3 so far. The Japanese title is Mushoku Tensei Isekai Ittara Honki Desu. Or Dasu, I guess it would be Dasu. But yeah, this is a series that is in the winter 2021 season, and I am really enjoying it so far. And this basically follows a guy who is basically a NEET. All he does all day is watch, anime. It seems like anime porn, some sort like that. At some point, after his parents passed away, I guess the funding for him to stay at a certain location got put away, and a bunch of guys showed up to kick him out of the house. Just, he's a deadbeat, get him out of there. And once he's kind of walking around in the middle of the night with no place to stay, he spots 3 kids next to the street and a truck nearly going to hit them. And so he runs out to kind of push them away, gets hit by the truck and dies. As he's kind of being, well, no, he didn't die at first, but as he's dying and they're trying to work on him in the hospital and everything, he slips away. And as he's slipping away, he can hear a voice of a different language. And he blinks and wakes up, and he is in the arms of a dad. He has been reborn as a new child, and he has new parents, and he's in a new world with fantasy and everything. And it is kind of a setup that is similar to most isekais, the idea of dying and reincarnating into another world. Most of the time it is into a pre-established body, somebody that's already, a teen or older. But every now and then we do have these shows where it seems like the person is completely reborn into a new self. And with this particular case, he's reborn into a new self, but he retains his memories of his previous life, which isn't very good. A previous life full of being bullied and, self-isolating himself and just not really liking the outside world. And as he grows up in this new body, he, of course, learns the language. He kind of establishes at some point that his father was a warrior and his mother had new magic. And obviously they were adventurers at some point. He established at some point that he does have the ability to learn magic. He finds some books up in the attic and starts training on a daily basis to kind of build up his mana, his capacity for mana, and learn abilities, and eventually cast magic. And to the point that his parents decide to hire a mage to come in and train him in magic. And that's kind of where we gotten so far. The trainer came in, trained him for a little bit, then had to leave because she taught him everything that she knew. And then he gets over his fear of going out into the world, because that's something that kind of carried over with his memories. He was reborn, but he still had the fear of going out into the world because he was like terribly bullied when he was in the other world. To the point where they'd stripped him naked and hung him on a gate and took pictures of him. So that is the idea so far. And he also met this once he finally went out to the village. He meets a person named Sylphie and starts training Sylphie in how to use magic as well. And that's pretty much where I'm at right now with the 3rd episode. And like I said, I'm really thoroughly enjoying this show. I know that one of the difficulties a lot of people will have with watching this show is that it doesn't really hide so much the main character's dirtiness. Like he is a NEET that was, self-pleasuring himself and all this kind of stuff when in the previous life. He was a deadbeat. He was a person that did not want to go out. He was a lazy bum, basically. And he does tap into that here and there. He does recall this previous life that was pretty bad. And it's not to say that he is irredeemable or that he's a disgusting main character. It's just that here's this norm that he had found himself in his previous life, and he's kind of, it seems like he's trying to shed that. And I do think that is a positive message in the end, because he does have this second lease in life. He does have this second opportunity to do things differently. He does feel like he can, I guess, try again. And that, I think, is the important message there, is that he's not going to go, okay, well, in this world, I'm going to do the same thing. Granted, he does still have a perviness about him. He still retains his pervy self, but it seems like he's walking forward. And so that's why I guess the message I would give most people when they come in here and they go, wow, this guy's disgusting, he does this and this and this. It's like, but he is stepping forward. Now, granted, he can always have that pervy nature, and he can always be that pervy old man as he's, growing up as this new kid. But like I said, it does have a sense that he is walking forward. He is walking away from this life of being a NEET. He's walking away from, I guess, his defeat. He was defeated in his previous life, and now he has a second chance to not be defeated. And I do like that aspect. Outside of that, like I said, it is a gorgeous show. It is absolutely beautiful, which does give me hope in the idea that this show will have some content to it, some reason why they would pour money into this show and really make it beautiful. My biggest fear already that I'm having is this is an Isekai show that is obviously going to be a long-running story, and this show is only set to have 11 episodes. So I'm curious if we will get a chapter close with these 11 episodes, or are we going to have just really nothing happen and it just ends? I am really curious to have how far they're going to adapt into this, how much content's available for them, or if I'm just going to be disappointed by it. What sucks is when you do have a show where the storytelling is so fantastic. Like, it plays episode by episode with him narrating it, and each step in his process is like this very well told story. It almost feels like Forrest Gumpy, like where you do have the narrator over things happening. Some steps in his life are goofy, some steps in his life are serious, some steps in his life are his failures, some are his successes, all while he's growing up and maturing and getting stronger and stepping forward and walking away from his past, walking away from his defeat. And I do like that. It seems like there's a masterpiece in here, if not for the animation, if not for it being another isekai, but just for how it's telling the story. And it's very hard to describe. Like I said, it's just more that sense of Forrest Gump, that sense of narrating over every step in a life as they get stronger and as they stumble and as they build themselves up. I like the characters so far. Roxy was fantastic. I'm kind of sad that she's kind of left the picture. I'm sure that it won't take long before hopefully he runs into her again. Sylphie is great as well. Haven't had too much time to spend with Sylphie, but just absolutely adorable. The parents were great. The mother is absolute. I guess she would be in the MILF territory. She's actually gorgeous. She's technically in that Saber territory. But Paul, the father, is fantastic too. Just a great cast so far, and just the laughs are mostly in the sense of kind of perviness so far. So keep that in mind. I mean, most of the laughs early on is like him perving out over the maid and her being freaked out by it and thinking he's actually possessed, or him hiding Roxy's underwear after she leaves so that he has a pair to hold on to. Those things like that. It's not all just that. Like, there's the Roxy knocking over a tree and then Rudy like, my mom worked really hard on that tree. Probably that's probably gonna upset her a lot. So yeah, just the comedy's on spot. The storytelling's fantastic. The directing's great. The animation is absolutely beautiful. I would venture to say this is probably the most gorgeous show of the season so far. Like, Wonder Egg Priority is beautiful as well, but this one is Wonder Egg Priority does kind of work with CGI a little bit too much. You can kind of notice it, but this one's just the overall flow. I mean, the wind, the hair, everything just flows. It looks gorgeous. So yeah, definitely if you're looking for an isekai show, definitely check it out. This is probably going to be, I mean, easily so far with 3 episodes, it's an isekai show that is going to stand out from the crowd. I can already notice that. As for as if it's going to hopefully get to a point that it tells a good story for these 11 episodes, that's left to be found out. But it's beautiful, and it's so far it's working out really well. So I have a lot of hopes for Jobless Reincarnation. If this first impressions is enjoyable to you, definitely give us a like and subscribe. I hope so that you would do that for us. It helps us out and supports us. And I thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and y'all take care.